Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books. It's like we're on the real yellow brick road, going through the history of the universe to Goloka Vrindavan. And we finally reached it. 10th Canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam. And we're in the Brajalila pastimes of Krishna. It doesn't get any better than this. And if you read Srila Prabhupada's book seriously, you'll find out that this is the method, the only method, that one can actually develop attachment to Krishna as a person. The holy name of the Lord will get you there. But it purifies the heart in such a way that one gets a taste for hearing about Krishna. And when you get a taste for hearing about Krishna, and you absorb yourself in hearing about Krishna, then you can get attachment for Krishna. Not just attachment for service, or attachment for the philosophy, or attachment, satisfaction of hearing the truth, but attachment for Krishna and developing a personal relationship with Krishna. This is the means. And with that in mind, we greet all of you out in cyberspace. Thank you for coming and joining. I'm getting letters every day now of persons who are very happy with this reading and it's helping them in their relationship with Krishna. And nothing can make me happier than that. Period. Full stop. Hare Krishna. Okay. Sanatana Goswami wrote this prayer glorifying the Srimad-Bhagavatam. And this prayer is so deep, it actually says everything. That's why I say it every single day, so that we can go deeper and deeper into the Bhagavatam. Sri Bhagavata Mahima Stotra by Sanatana Goswami. 5 simple Sanskrit verses with everything. It goes like this. Sarva Shastrabdi Piyusha Sarva Vedaika Satpala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnaja Sarva Lokaika Drikprada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabho Kalidwan Dudita Didya Sri Krishna Parivartita. O life air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Sri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshakshadayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Sri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna himself. Madekabando Matsangin Madguro Man Mahadana Manistadaga Madbhagya Mad Ananda Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu saduta dayin atinich chochata kara hanamun chagadachin mam premna rit kantayospura. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Brahmante. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So, we're in the chapter called Brahma Mohana Leela, the chapter in which Lord Brahma, Krishna, bewilders Lord Brahma by such a display of mystic power that it makes Brahma feel like an ant, even though he's maintaining the whole universe by his meditation. Beginning with text 55. Thus, Lord Brahma saw the Supreme Brahman, by whose energy this entire universe, with its moving and non-moving living beings, is manifested. He also saw at the same time all the calves and boys as the Lord's expansions. Purport. By this incident, Lord Brahma was able to see how Krishna maintains the entire universe in different ways. It is because Krishna manifests everything that everything is visible. Text 56. Then, by the power of the effulgence of those Vishnu Murtis, Lord Brahma, his 11 senses jolted by astonishment and stunned by transcendental bliss, became silent, just like a child's clay doll in the presence of the village deity. Purport. Brahma was stunned because of transcendental bliss. Muhyanti yat suryaha. In his astonishment, all his senses were stunned, and he was unable to say or do anything. Brahma had considered himself absolute, thinking himself the only powerful deity. But now his pride was subdued, and he again became merely one of the demigods. An important demigod, of course, but a demigod nonetheless. Brahma therefore cannot be compared to God, Krishna or Narayana. It is forbidden to compare Narayana even to demigods like Brahma and Shiva, what to speak of others. Yastu Narayanam Devam Brahma Rudradi Daivatahi Samatmenai Bhaviksheta Sapashandi Bhavedrubam. One who considers demigods like Brahma and Shiva to be on an equal level with Narayana must certainly be considered an offender. We should not equate the demigods with Narayana, for even Shankaracharya has forbidden this. Narayanat pado vyaktat. Also, as mentioned in the Vedas, Eko Narayana asin na Brahma nishanaha. In the beginning of creation, there was only the Supreme Personality, Narayana, and there was no existence of Brahma or Shiva. Therefore, one who at the end of his life remembers Narayana attains the perfection of life. Ante Narayana Smritihi. Bhagavatam 2.16. Text 57. The Supreme Brahman is beyond mental speculation. He is self-manifested, existing in his own bliss, and he is beyond the material energy. He is known by the crest jewels of the Vedas, by refutation of irrelevant knowledge. Thus, in relation to that Supreme Brahman, the personality of Godhead, whose glory had been shown by the manifestation of all the four-armed forms of Vishnu, Lord Brahma, the Lord of Saraswati, was mystified. What is this? He thought. And then he was not even able to see. Lord Krishna, understanding Brahma's position, then at once removed the curtain of his yoga maya. Now just understand the depth of this translation of the Sanskrit in the condition Prabhupada was in. He translated it while Pradyumna was reading him the Sanskrit. Purport. Brahma was completely mystified. he could not understand what he was seeing. And then he was not even able to see. Lord Krishna, understanding Brahma's position, then removed that Yogamaya covering. In this verse, Brahma is referred to as Iresha. Ira means Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and Iresha is her husband, Lord Brahma. Brahma therefore is most intelligent. But even Brahma, the Lord of Saraswati, was bewildered about Krishna. Although he tried, he could not understand Lord Krishna. In the beginning, the boys, the calves, and Krishna himself had been covered by Yogamaya, which later displayed the second set of calves and boys, who were Krishna's expansions, and which then displayed so many four-armed forms. Now, seeing Brahma's bewilderment, Lord Krishna caused the disappearance of that Yogamaya. One may think that the Maya taken away by Lord Krishna was Mahamaya. But Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur comments that it was Yogamaya, the potency by which Krishna is sometimes manifest and sometimes not manifest. The potency which covers the actual reality and displays something unreal is Mahamaya. But the potency by which the absolute truth is sometimes manifest and sometimes not is Yogamaya. Shall I repeat that? That's an important point. The potency which covers the actual reality and displays something unreal is Mahamaya. But the potency by which the absolute truth is sometimes manifest and sometimes not is Yogamaya. Therefore, in this verse, the word Aja refers to Yogamaya. Krishna's energy, his Maya Shakti, or Sarup Shakti, is one, but it is manifested in varieties. Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Shruyate. Shveta Shvetar Upanishad 6.8. The difference between Vaishnavas and Mayavadis is that Mayavadis say that this Maya is one, whereas Vaishnavas recognize its varieties. There is unity in variety. For example, in one tree, there are varieties of leaves, fruits, and flowers. Varieties of energy are required for performing the varieties of activity within the creation. To give another example, in a machine, all the parts may be iron, but the machine includes varied activities. Although the whole machine is iron, one part works in one way and another part works in other ways. One who does not know how the machine is working may say that it is all iron. Nonetheless, in spite of its being iron, the machine has different elements, all working differently to accomplish the purpose for which the machine was made. One wheel runs this way, another wheel runs that way, functioning naturally in such a way that the work of the machine goes on. That's not from Vishwanath, that's right from Prabhupada. It's amazing. Consequently, we give different names to the different parts of the machine, saying, this is a wheel, this is a screw, this is a spindle, this is the lubrication, and so on. Similarly, as explained in the Vedas, Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Shruyate Swabhaviki Jnana Palakriya Cha. Krishna's power is variegated, and thus the same Shakti or potency works in variegated ways. Vivida means varieties. There is unity in variety. Thus Yogamaya and Mahamaya are among the varied individual parts of the same one potency. And all of these individual potencies work in their own varied ways. The Samvit, Sandhini, and Ladini potencies. Krishna's potency for knowledge, his potency for existence, and his potency for pleasure are distinct from Yogamaya. Each is an individual potency. The Ladini potency is Radharani. As Swarup Damodar Goswami has explained, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Ladini Shakti Rasmat, CC Adi 1.5. The Aladini Shakti is manifested as Radharani, but Krishna and Radharani are the same, although one is potent and the other is potency. Brahma was mystified about Krishna's opulence, Nija Mahimani, because this opulence was atarkya, or inconceivable. With one's limited senses, one cannot argue about that which is inconceivable. Therefore, the inconceivable is called achintya, that which is beyond chintya, our thoughts. Achintya, beyond our thoughts. With that which is beyond chintya, our thoughts and arguments. Achintya refers, that brings to mind that verse which I just read, because I quoted it at least twice in those offerings, where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, if you just hear the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with full faith and love and without argument, you will experience Krishna, you will experience Lord Chaitanya's presence while you're hearing. You don't ask questions now. Hold your questions to the end. That's the whole purpose of it. You start going up in things like that, it changes completely. Okay. Achintya refers, I'll read that last sentence again. Therefore, the inconceivable is called achintya, that which is beyond chintya, our thoughts and arguments. Achintya refers to that which we cannot contemplate but have to accept. Srila Jiva Goswami has said that unless we accept achintya in the Supreme, we cannot accommodate the conception of God. This must be understood. Therefore, we say that the words of Shastra should be taken as they are, without change, since they are beyond our arguments. Achintya kalo ye bhava, na tangs tarkena yojayet. That which is achintya cannot be ascertained by argument. People generally argue, but our process is not to argue, but to accept the Vedic knowledge as it is. When Krishna says, this is superior and this is inferior, we accept what he says. It is not that we argue, why is this superior and that inferior? If one argues, for him, the knowledge is lost. This path of acceptance is called avaroha panta. The word avaroha is related to the word avatara, which means that which descends. The materialist wants to understand everything by the aroha panta, by argument and reason. But transcendental matters cannot be understood in this way. Rather, one must follow the avaroha panta, the process of descending knowledge. Therefore, one must accept the parampara system. And the best parampara is that which extends from Krishna. Evam parampara praptam. What Krishna says, we should accept. Imam rajarshayo viduhu. This is called the avaroha panta. Brahma, however, adopted the aroha panta. He wanted to understand Krishna's mystic power by his own limited, conceivable power, and therefore he himself was mystified. Everyone wants to take pleasure in his own knowledge, thinking, I know something. But in the presence of Krishna, this conception cannot stand. For one cannot bring Krishna within the limitations of Prakriti. One must submit. There is no alternative. Not tongues, tarkina yoja yet. This submission marks the difference between Krishnaites and Mayavadis. The phrase atan nirasana refers to the discarding of that which is irrelevant. I'll read that again. The phrase atan nirasana refers to the discarding of that which is irrelevant. Atat means that which is not a fact. Brahman is sometimes described as astulam, anan, arasvam, adirgam. That which is not large and not small, not short and not long. Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad 588. Neti neti. It is not this, it is not that. But what is it? In describing a pencil, one may say, it is not this, it is not that, but this does not tell us what it is. This is called definition by negation. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also explains the soul by giving negative definitions. Najayante, mriyate, va. It is not born, nor does it die. You can hardly understand more than this. But what is it? It is eternal. Ajo nityak shasvato yam purano, nahanyate hanyamane sharire. It is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. It is not slain when the body is slain. Bhagavad Gita 2:20. In the beginning, the soul is difficult to understand, and therefore Krishna has given negative definitions. Nainam chintani shastrani, nainam dahari pavaka, nachainam kariyantyapo, na shoshayati maruta. The soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon, nor can it be burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Gita 2:23. Krishna says, it is not burned by fire. Therefore, one has to imagine what it is that is not burned by fire. This is a negative definition. 58. Just 1 second. I'm sorry. Lord Brahma's external consciousness then revived, and he stood up just like a dead man coming back to life. Opening his eyes with great difficulty, he saw the universe along with himself. Purport. We actually do not die. At death, we are merely kept inert for some time, just as during sleep. At night we sleep and all our activities stop, but as soon as we arise, our memory immediately returns, and we think, oh, where am I? What do I have to do? This is called suptotita nyaya. Suppose we die. Die means that we become inert for some time, and then again begin our activities. This takes place life after life, according to our karma, or activities, and swabhava, or nature, by association. Now, in the human life, if we prepare ourselves by beginning the activity of our spiritual life, we return to our real life and attain perfection. Otherwise, according to karma, swabhava, prakriti, and so on, our varieties of life and activity continue, and so also do our birth and death. As explained by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Mayara vashi yachcha beshe katchahabu dububai. My dear brothers, why are you being washed away by the waves of Maya? One should come to the spiritual platform, and then one's activities will be permanent. Krita punya punja. This stage is attained after one accumulates the results of pious activities for many, many lives. Janma koti sukritaya nalabhyate. The Krishna consciousness movement wants to stop koti janma, repeated birth and death. In one birth, one should rectify everything and come to permanent life. This is Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. That came right out of Prabhupada's, right when he was in that condition. I was there, I watched it. And Jaitway told me, he said, it practically needed no editing. It came right out like a flow like that. Even those 3-word sentences, 4-word sentences, 5-word sentences. Amazing. To make sure we get it before he leaves. Right? Just like the Bhagavatam makes sure we get at the end of the 10th canto with the prayer of the personified Vedas. You know, the deepest analysis of the difference between matter and spirit and why it exists practically. After Krishna's pastimes. Amazing. Text 59. Oh, I have to tell Rasik, I'm in the middle of a reading. He's going to start engaging me here. Gotta cut him off at the pass. Text 59. Then, looking in all directions, Lord Brahma immediately saw Vrindavan before him, filled with trees, which were the means of livelihood for the inhabitants, and which were equally pleasing in all seasons. Purport. Janavi jivya drumakirnam. Trees and vegetables are essential, and they give happiness all year round, in all seasons. That is the arrangement in Vrindavan. It is not that in one season the trees are pleasing and in another season not pleasing. Rather, they are all equally pleasing throughout the seasonal changes. Trees and vegetables provide the real means of livelihood recommended for everyone. Sarva kama duga mahi. Bhagavatam 1.10.4. Trees and vegetables, not industry, provide the real means of life. Text 60. Vrindavan is the transcendental abode of the Lord, where there is no hunger, anger, or thirst. Though naturally inimical, both human beings and fierce animals live there together in transcendental friendship. The word purport. The word vana means forest. We are afraid of the forest and do not wish to go there. But in Vrindavan, the forest animals are as good as demigods. For they have no envy. Even in this material world, in the forest, the animals live together, and when they go to drink water, they do not attack anyone. Envy develops because of sense gratification. But in Vrindavan, there is no sense gratification, for the only aim is Krishna's satisfaction. Even in this material world, the animals in Vrindavan are not envious of the sadhus who live there. The sadhus keep cows and supply milk to the tigers, saying, "Come here and take a little milk." Thus, envy and malice are unknown in Vrindavan. That is the difference between Vrindavan and the ordinary world. We are horrified to hear the name of Vana, the forest, but in Vrindavan there is no such horror. Everyone there is happy by pleasing Krishna. Krishnot kirtana gana nartana paro. Whether a Goswami or a tiger or other ferocious animal, everyone's business is the same, to please Krishna. Even the tigers are also devotees. This is the specific qualification of Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, everyone is happy. The calf is happy, the cat is happy, the dog is happy, the man is happy. Everyone. Everyone wants to serve Krishna in a different capacity, and thus there is no envy. One may sometimes think that the monkeys in Vrindavan are envious because they cause mischief and steal food. But in Vrindavan we find that the monkeys are allowed to take butter which Krishna himself distributes. Krishna personally demonstrates that everyone has the right to live. This is Vrindavan life. Why should I live and you die? No, that is material life. The inhabitants of Vrindavan think, whatever is given by Krishna, let us divide it as prasad and eat. This mentality cannot appear all of a sudden, but it will gradually develop with Krishna consciousness. By sadhana, one can come to this platform. In the material world, one may collect funds all over the world in order to distribute food freely, yet those to whom the food is given may not even feel appreciative. The value of Krishna consciousness, however, will gradually be very much appreciated. For instance, in an article about the temple of the Hare Krishna movement in Durban, South Africa, the Durban Post reported, all the devotees here are very active in the service of Lord Krishna, and the results are obvious to see: happiness, good health, peace of mind, and the development of all good qualities. This is the nature of Vrindavan. Haro abhaktasya kuto mahad gunaha. Without Krishna consciousness, happiness is impossible. One may struggle, but one cannot have happiness. We are therefore trying to give human society the opportunity for a life of happiness, good health, peace of mind, and all good qualities through God consciousness. Text 61. Then Lord Brahma saw the absolute truth, who is one without a second, who possesses full knowledge, and who is unlimited. Assuming the role of a child in a family of cowherd men, and standing all alone, just as before, with a morsel of food in his hand, searching everywhere for the calves and his cowherd friends. Purport. The word aghada bodham, meaning full of unlimited knowledge, is significant in this verse. The Lord's knowledge is unlimited. And therefore one cannot touch where it ends, just as one cannot measure the ocean. What is the extent of our intelligence in comparison to the vast expanse of water in the ocean? On my passage to America, how insignificant the ship was, like a matchbox in the midst of the ocean. Krishna's intelligence resembles the ocean, for one cannot imagine how vast it is. The best course, therefore, is to surrender to Krishna. Don't try to measure Krishna. The word advayam, meaning one without a second, is also significant. Because Brahma was overcast by Krishna's Maya. He was thinking himself the supreme. In the material world, everyone thinks, I am the best man in the world, in this world. I know everything. One thinks, why should I read Bhagavad Gita? I know everything. I have my own interpretation. Or nowadays, we need the higher topics. I have my own interpretation. Brahma, however, was able to understand that the Supreme Personality is Krishna, Ishvara, Parama Krishna. Another of Krishna's names, therefore, is Parameshvara. Now Brahma saw Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appearing as a cowherd boy in Vrindavan, not demonstrating his opulence, but standing there just like an innocent boy with some food in his hand, loitering with his cowherd boyfriends, calves and cows. Brahma did not see Krishna as Chaturbhuja, the opulent Narayana. Rather, he simply saw an innocent boy. Nonetheless, he could understand that although Krishna was not demonstrating his power, he was the same Supreme Person. People generally do not appreciate someone unless he shows something wonderful. But here, although Krishna did not manifest anything wonderful, Brahma could understand that the same wonderful person was present like an ordinary child, although he was the master of the whole creation. Thus Brahma prayed, Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. You are the original person, the cause of everything. I bow down to you. This was his realization. Tam aham bhajami. This is what I wanted. Vedeshu durlabham. One cannot reach Krishna merely by Vedic knowledge. Adurlabham atma bhaktao. But when one becomes a devotee, then one can realize him. Brahma therefore became a devotee. In the beginning he was proud of being Brahma, the Lord of the universe. But now he understood, here is the Lord of the universe. I am simply an insignificant agent. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Krishna was playing like a dramatic actor because Brahma had some false prestige, thinking that he had some power. Krishna showed him his real position. A similar incident occurred when Brahma went to see Krishna in Dwarka. When Krishna's doorman informed Lord Krishna that Lord Brahma had arrived, Krishna responded, which Brahma? Ask him, which Brahma? The doorman relayed this question and Brahma was astonished. Is there another Brahma besides me? He thought. When the doorman informed Lord Krishna, it is four-headed Brahma, Lord Krishna said, oh, four-headed, call others, show him. This is Krishna's position. For Krishna, the four-headed Brahma is insignificant, to say nothing of four-headed scientists. Materialistic scientists think that although this planet Earth is full of opulence, all others are vacant. Simply because they simply speculate. This is their scientific conclusion. But from the Bhagavatam we understand that the entire universe is full of living entities everywhere. Thus, it is the folly of the scientists that although they do not know anything, they mislead people by presenting themselves as scientists, philosophers, and men of knowledge. Prabhupada's getting his last licks in. Okay. 3 more verses. After seeing this, Lord Brahma hastily got down from his swan carrier, fell down like a golden rod, and touched the lotus feet of Lord Krishna with the tips of the 4 crowns on his heads. Offering his obeisances, he bathed the feet of Krishna with the water of his tears of joy. Purport. Lord Brahma bowed down like a stick, and because Lord Brahma's complexion is golden, he appeared to be a golden stick lying down before Lord Krishna. When one falls down before a superior, just like a stick, one's offering obeisances is called dandavat. Danda means stick and vat means like. It is not that one should simply say dandavat. Rather, one must fall down. Thus Brahma fell down, touching his foreheads to the lotus feet of Krishna, and his crying in ecstasy is to be regarded as an abhishek, bathing ceremony of Krishna's lotus feet. He who appeared before Brahma as a human child was in fact the absolute truth, Parabrahman. Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti shabhyate. The Supreme Lord is Narakriti, that is, he resembles a human being. It is not that he is 4-armed, Chaturbahu. Narayana is Chaturbahu, but the Supreme Person resembles a human being. This is also confirmed in the Bible, where it is said that man was made in the image of God. Lord Brahma saw that Krishna, in his form as a cowherd boy, was Parabrahman, the root cause of everything, but was now appearing as a human child, loitering in Vrindavan with a morsel of food in his hand. Astonished, Lord Brahma hastily got down from his swan carrier and let his body fall to the earth. Usually the demigods never touch the ground, but Lord Brahma, voluntarily giving up his prestige as a demigod, bowed down on the ground before Krishna. Although Brahma has one head in each direction, he voluntarily brought all his heads to the ground and touched Krishna's feet with the tips of his 4 helmets. Although his intelligence works in every direction, he surrendered everything before the boy, Krishna. It is mentioned that Brahma washed the feet of Krishna with his tears, and here the word sujalai indicates that his tears were purified. As soon as bhakti is present, everything is purified. Sarvopadi vinir muktam. Therefore, Brahma's crying was a form of bhakti-anubhava, a transformation of the transcendental ecstatic love. 63. Rising and falling again and again at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna for a long time, Lord Brahma remembered over and over the Lord's greatness he had just seen. Purport. As stated in one prayer, Shrutim apare smritim itare bharatam anye bhajantu bhavabhitaha aham ihanandam bande yasyalinde padam brahma. Let others study the Vedas, Smriti, and Mahabharata, fearing material existence. But I shall worship Nanda Maharaj, in whose courtyard is crawling the Supreme Brahman. Nanda Maharaj is so great that the Para-Brahman is crawling in his yard and therefore I worship him. Padyavali 126. Brahma was falling down in ecstasy because of the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who exactly resembled a human child. Brahma was naturally astonished. Therefore, with a faltering voice, he offered prayers, understanding that here was the Supreme Person. 64. Then, rising very gradually and wiping his two eyes, Lord Brahma looked up at Mukunda. Lord Brahma, his head bent low, his mind concentrated, and his body trembling, very humbly began with faltering words to offer prayers to Lord Krishna. Purport. Brahma, being very joyful, began to shed tears, and he washed the lotus feet of Krishna with his tears. Repeatedly, he fell and rose as he recalled the wonderful activities of the Lord. After repeating obeisances for a long time, Brahma stood up and smeared his hands over his eyes. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that the word lochane indicates that with his two hands he wiped the two eyes on each of his four faces. Seeing the Lord before him, Brahma began to offer prayers with great humility, respect, and attention. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 10th canto, 13th chapter of Srimad-Bhagavatam, entitled The Stealing of the Boys and Calves by Brahma. So we want to, before we go on to the next chapter, which we will right now, we want to acknowledge with the depth of as much devotion as we can muster in our conditioned states, the mystic power that Srila Prabhupada exhibited by giving us these last translations of these verses and purports from a position that was completely impossible to do this from. Completely. And now we're going to see the transition, but we're also going to, if we've actually been purified by what we just heard in Prabhupada's association, we'll be able to appreciate that Srila Prabhupada's empowerment is transferred to those who were commissioned to do this work. And some people may say this and some people may say that. But if you just clear the decks and just hear the Bhagavatam as we've been hearing it up till now, then you'll see that the whole Bhagavatam is Prabhupada's magnum opus. Chapter 14. Brahma's prayers to Lord Krishna. This chapter describes the prayers Brahma offered to Lord Krishna, who is also known as Nanda-Nandana. For his satisfaction, Brahma first praised the beauty of the Lord's transcendental limbs, and then declared that his original identity of sweetness is even more difficult to comprehend than his opulence. Only by the devotional process of hearing and chanting transcendental sounds received from Vedic authorities can one realize the personality of Godhead. It is fruitless to try to realize God through processes outside the scope of Vedic authority. The mystery of the personality of Godhead, who is the reservoir of unlimited spiritual qualities, is inconceivable. It is even more difficult to understand than the impersonal Supreme. Thus, only by the mercy of God can one understand His glories. Finally realizing this, Brahma repeatedly condemned his own actions and recognized that Lord Sri Krishna the ultimate shelter of the universe, is Brahma's own father, the original Narayana. In this way, Brahma begged the Lord's forgiveness. Brahma then glorified the inconceivable opulence of the personality of Godhead and described the ways in which Brahma and Shiva differ from Lord Vishnu, the reason for the Supreme Lord's appearance in various species of demigods, animals, and so on, the eternal nature of the pastimes of the personality of Godhead, and the temporality of the material world. By knowing the Supreme Personality in truth, the individual spirit soul can achieve liberation from bondage. In actuality, however, both liberation and bondage are unreal, for it is only from the living entity's conditioned outlook that his bondage and liberation are produced. Thinking the personal form of Lord Krishna illusory, fools reject his lotus feet and look elsewhere to find the Supreme Self. But the futility of their search is the obvious proof of their foolishness. There is simply no way to understand the truth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead without His mercy. Having established this conclusion, Lord Brahma analyzed the great good fortune of the residents of Braja, and then personally prayed to be born there, even as a blade of grass, a bush, or a creeper. Indeed, the homes of the residents of Vrindavan are not prisons of material existence, but rather abodes envied even by the jnanis and yogis. On the other hand, any home without a connection to Lord Krishna is in fact a prison cell of material existence. Finally, Brahma offered his whole self at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, and praising him again and again, circumambulated him and took his leave. Lord Krishna then gathered the animals Brahma stole and led them to the place on the Yamuna's bank where the cowherd boys had been taking lunch. The same friends who had been present before were sitting there now. By the power of Krishna's illusory energy, they were not at all aware of what had happened. Thus, when Krishna arrived with the calves, the boys told them, "You've returned so quickly." "Very good. As long as you were gone, we couldn't take even a morsel of food. So come and eat." Laughing at the words of the cowherd boys, Krishna began taking his meal in their company. While eating, Krishna pointed out to his young friends the skin of the python, and the boys thought, "Krishna has now killed this terrible snake." Indeed, later they related to the residents of Vrindavan the incident of Krishna's killing the Aga demon. In this way, the cowherd boys described pastimes that Lord Krishna had performed in his Balya age, 1 to 5, even though his Pauganda age, 6 to 10, had begun. Shukadeva Goswami concludes this chapter by explaining how the gopis loved Lord Krishna even more than they loved their own sons. Text 1. These prayers of Brahma are out of this world. They're out of this world. And I want to and many of them are very familiar to the persons who are familiar with the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. They are quoted a lot by Prabhupada all through his purports in different places. So I'd like to just take a little extra time and chant the Sanskrit with your permission.
Yes,
The saints surrounding me have given me permission. so I will chant the prayers of Brahma in Sanskrit as well as English. Shri Brahma Vacha Now Midyate Brabhavushe Tedit Ambaraya Gunjavatangsa Paripich Chalasan Mukhaya Vanye Sraje Kavalavetra Vishana Venu Lakshma Shriye Mridupate Pashupang Gajaya. Lord Brahma said, My dear Lord, you are the only worshipable Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore I offer my humble obeisances and prayers just to please you. O son of the king of the cowherds, your transcendental body is dark blue like a new cloud. Your garment is brilliant like lightning, and the beauty of your face is enhanced by your gunji earrings and the peacock feather on your head. Wearing garlands of various forest flowers and leaves, and equipped with a herding stick, a buffalo horn, and a flute, you stand beautifully with a morsel of food in your hand. Purport. In the previous chapter, Brahma, the creator of the universe, tried to bewilder the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, by stealing his cowherd boyfriends and calves. But by a slight exhibition of Krishna's own mystic potency, Brahma himself was completely bewildered, and now with great humility and devotion, he offers his humble obeisances and prayers unto the Lord. The word kevala in this verse refers to a morsel of rice mixed with yogurt that Krishna held in his left hand. According to Sanatana Goswami, the Lord held a cowherding stick and a buffalo horn pressed under his left arm, and his flute was placed under his belt. Beautiful young Krishna, decorated with multicolored forest minerals, exhibited opulences far greater than those of Vaikuntha. Although Brahma had seen innumerable four-armed forms of the Lord, he now surrendered unto the lotus feet of the two-armed form of Krishna, who appeared as the son of Nanda Maharaj. Brahma offered his prayers to that form. 2. Asyapi deva papusho mananugrahasya swechcha mayasya natubhuta mayasya kopi neshe mahi tavasitum manasandarena sakshat tavaiva kimutatmam sukhanubhutehe. My dear Lord, neither I nor anyone else can estimate the potency of this transcendental body of yours, which has shown such mercy to me, and which appears just to fulfill the desires of your pure devotees. Although my mind is completely withdrawn from material affairs, I cannot understand your personal form. How then could I possibly understand the happiness you experience within yourself? Purport. In Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, chapter 14, Srila Prabhupada explains that in the present verse, Lord Brahma expressed the following prayerful sentiment. Your appearance as a cowherd child is for the benefit of the devotees, and although I have committed an offense at your lotus feet by stealing away your boys and calves, I can understand that you have bestowed your mercy upon me. This shows your transcendental quality of being very affectionate toward your devotees. But in spite of your great affection for me, I cannot estimate the potency of your bodily activities. It is to be understood that when I, Lord Brahma, the Supreme Personality of this universe, cannot estimate the childlike body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then what to speak of others? And if I cannot estimate the spiritual potency of your childlike body, then what can I understand about your transcendental pastimes? Therefore, as it is said in the Bhagavad Gita, anyone who can understand a little of the transcendental pastimes, appearance and disappearance of the Lord immediately becomes eligible to enter the kingdom of God after quitting the material body. This statement is confirmed in the Vedas, where it is stated, simply by understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can overcome the chain of repeated birth and death. I therefore recommend that people should not try to understand you by their speculative knowledge. When Brahma disrespected the supreme status of the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna first bewildered him by exhibiting the Lord's own transcendental power. Then, having humbled his devotee Brahma, Krishna gave him his personal audience. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Lord Krishna's transcendental body can also function through the agency of his plenary expansions, called Vishnu Tattva. As stated by Brahma himself in the Brahma Samhita 532, Angani yasya sakalendriya vritti. This verse indicates not only that the Lord can perform any bodily function with any of his limbs, but also that he can see through the eyes of his Vishnu expansions, or indeed through the eyes of any living entity, and similarly that he can hear through the ears of any Vishnu or Jiva expansion. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out that although the Lord can perform any function with any one of his senses, in his transcendental pastimes as Sri Krishna, he generally sees with his eyes, touches with his hands, hears with his ears, and so on. Thus he behaves like the most beautiful and charming young cowherd boy. The Vedic knowledge expands from Lord Brahma, who is described in the first verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam as Adi Kavi, the primeval Vedic scholar. Yet Brahma could not understand the transcendental body of Lord Krishna because it is beyond the reach of ordinary Vedic knowledge. Among all the transcendental forms of the Lord, the two-armed form of Govinda, Krishna, is original and supreme. Thus, Lord Govinda's pastimes of stealing butter, drinking the gopis' breast milk, tending the calves, playing his flute, and playing childhood sports are extraordinary, even in comparison with the activities of the Lord's Vishnu expansions. And we'll stop there tonight. Hare Krishna. Our hour approximately is up. What can you say after that? Anyway, we'll give it a try. We have our illuminaries here, the luminaries of Folkestone and Mayapur and London and Hive and Houston, Denver. We're all here together. Put our energies together, our intelligence, to see if we can't say something in response to that beautiful explanation by Srila Prabhupada and the beautiful prayers of Lord Brahma.
There's a comment from cyberspace.
A comment from cyberspace. Is there a person attached to it?
Yes. Vrindavaneshwari Devi Dasi.
Vrindavaneshwari Devi Dasi. She's in California, the wife of Krishna Katha.
It says, Hare Krishna, Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. We read, quote, the materialists want to understand everything by the Aroha Panta, by argument and reason, but transcendental matters cannot be understood this way, unquote. I'm certainly making it a point to remember this verse as I find myself sharing Krishna consciousness with a few people I work with at times, minimally because they are scientists.
She's working at Stanford University, in administrative, office. Go ahead.
Thankful to Krishna, at least one of them has started reading the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Thank you, Maharaj, for your daily readings. It is my highlight of each day.
What can I say? Thank you for passing on the mercy to others, especially there in Stanford, because you got some highly qualified, materially high qualified people, and we can see that Krishna's consciousness is spreading. It is spreading. It may not spread in the way that we think it should, or in the way we think it could, but it's spreading, because Lord Chaitanya is organizing this movement. He's managing it. Thank you, Vrindavaneshwari. Keep up the good work. Yes, Radhika Nagar, I can see from here that you've just been eager to, you can barely contain yourself through the whole reading. Your intelligence was bursting, ready to say something. Go ahead.
It's more a question, but it caught my attention that Lord Brahma was, I don't know the word, stunned by bliss. He
Yes.
was the internal potency, not the external
Yes.
potency.
Yes.
So, despite the fact that he had, done the wrong thing, you could say.
Yeah.
He was blessed by Krishna, but with the internal potency. So I would like, if you would like to comment on that.
I will comment on that. Thank you very much for the opportunity. In the beginning of the creation, what happens? Brahma came out in a dark space with no light and no air, suffocating and sweating like anything, with no one to talk to, no one to consult with, nothing. And at first, he didn't get contacted by Krishna. But because he was very intelligent, because the body he had acquired had the facility of intelligence that was so big, so vast, almost like Krishna's. He figured out immediately, I've got to figure out what's going on here. I got to find out what my source is. And so he started to climb down the stem of a lotus. First time we checked that out, looked around. Oh, look, there's a stem here. This is a lotus flower. Stems usually come from the source of something. So he started down. He got to the water of the Garbhodakosha, and he still couldn't see. Even though Lord Vishnu was right there, he couldn't see him. And as he was climbing back up, he heard ta, pa. The two syllables in the Sanskrit language, which put together means austerity, tapasya. So then he understood, because he was very intelligent. I have to do tapasya. So then he got back onto his, lotus flower, and he sat down in a yogic position, and he started to meditate for 100 years. Of whose years, I don't know, but it was a long time. And then Krishna appeared to him. And he told him, actually, this penance, done with devotion, is my heart. Now you've pleased me very much. He stuck out his hand, shook it, and said, thank you very much. And then Brahma became overwhelmed, and Krishna agreed to show him Vaikuntha. And then he showed him Goloka Vrindavan and his form of Krishna. So because he had had that experience, he was very dear to Krishna. Even though the service that he had was extremely difficult, to create the universe. to bring the Vedas into existence, into the material world, and keep all of that together by the force of his meditation, his consciousness. And because he is the qualitative incarnation of Krishna, of the mode of passion, because it takes passion to create like he did. Therefore, sometimes he forgets due to the influence of the mode of passion. Therefore, it says in the Gita, Krishna, Abrahma bhuvana loka punar arvatanorjana mamu pecha tukunteya punar vidya punar vidyate punar something navidyate. Anyway, I can't remember every word. You got the idea. So, therefore, even if we have services and duties and things to do that cause us to forget, if we once, with complete sincerity, this is not a joke, this is the real thing, if we once give ourselves to Krishna, from this day I'm yours, even if you can't remember, even if you can't stay there, Krishna, from that day on, he takes charge and he arranges things in such a way. And I heard Prabhupada say just the other day that even if it was a morning walk in Mayapur in 1976, and he was surrounded by all his sannyasis, the top and GBC, top devotees, peppering him with questions, and Prabhupada was answering them all. And he said, even if you can't remember Krishna at the time of death because passing away from the body is so difficult, if you've done devotional service your whole life, Krishna will be there to help you. Yogakshema Bahamyaham. That's what that verse means. Ananya Chaitanya. Ananya Chaitanya Yejanak Prayupasate Tesham Nitya Bhayuktanam Yogakshemam Bahamyaham. If you serve without an ulterior motive for the pleasure of Krishna, even if you're not perfect, even if you're not, realizing your form and your relationship with Krishna and everything, when you leave the body, Krishna will make up for what you lack and preserve what you have. And all the devotees were very quiet after that. All these big guns, they were very quiet after that, because it was a profound moment of revelation. So the point is, even if we are highly advanced and even if we are fully surrendered, and absorbed in Krishna consciousness without deviation, the material energy is so powerful, it can cause us to forget anybody in the material world. There's another verse in the Gita that says, there's no living entity, including Lord Brahma, to top to bottom, that is not influenced some way or another, somehow or another, by the modes of material nature. Of course, by Krishna's grace, you can become free altogether, even in this life. But still, I was there when Prabhupada left. I saw how difficult leaving the body is, even for a person of his stature. But he showed us by these last commentaries that he translated when he was in that state. I'm hearkened to the story that Tejas told me, how he used to go in when he was traveling with Prabhupada in India when we first joined, and he was real smart. So Prabhupada took him under his wing, and he didn't have hardly anybody at that time in India, but he was working in India. He was a Peace Corps worker, working in the farms and learning and teaching. And so he had permission to be there. So Prabhupada took him under his wing, and he was traveling around with Prabhupada. And there was a standard, habit that whenever he came into Prabhupada's room, Prabhupada would stop whatever he was doing and, talk to him, greet him, bring him in, sit him down and talk to him, every time. Then one day they were in the south, I think in Madras or someplace, Vishakhapatnam or Madras or someplace like that, at Gaudiya Math. And they just walked in and Prabhupada didn't look up. First time, didn't look up. And Tejas, real smart, he said, something goes on here. Okay, I'm just going to sit down and wait to see what this means. And he did. He just sat down. And Prabhupada was in deep concentration, something. And then after about 5 minutes or something, he said it seemed like a long time, but he said it's probably 5 minutes. Then Prabhupada looked up and looked right past him. You know how you can look past somebody when you're concentrating on something? And then he said, I could not have written this book. Krishna has written this book. Just like that. He was reading his own book. That's what he was doing. I don't know if that touched your point, but
Yeah. Fully.
something more?
This one from Rati Manjari.
Rati, our steady geyser, Old Faithful, we call her Old Faithful. She's always got a question, even if nobody else has got a question, she's got a question. Or a reflection. She gives great reflections.
Rati Manjari says, Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. I have a question. How should we understand that the inhabitants of Vrindavan apparently hadn't discovered the dead body of Aghasur for that whole year?
Well, the cowherd boy, it was out in the forest, first of all, in a place where the Brajbasis don't go. The Brajbasis don't go everywhere. They have their services to do. They have their houses to take care of and their whatever. So they don't go out to every place. There's one of our acharyas who wrote that Radhakund is so confidential that even the Brajbasis go right by it in their daily lives, and they have no interest to go there. Only the gopis and Krishna can go there. And a couple of the very, very confidential, Madhumangal, Subal, a couple of the very, intimate cowherd boys. Not all the time, but they can be there when Radha and Krishna and the gopis are there. So that's one reason, is because the remnants of the Aghasura was somewhere else out in the forest. It wasn't like Putana, who died or about ready to die and stood up and just walked out of the house and just fell down in the forest right next to the village, and everyone could see her. It wasn't like that. They were out in the forest, And as far as the cowherd boys were concerned, they were, as we heard in the verse, Krishna made an arrangement so that they couldn't remember anything. And so, it's obvious. They said, "Oh, Krishna, you've only been away for such a short time, we didn't even get a chance to eat yet. Here, come sit down, let's eat together." What's that thing over there? Oh, must be some kind of playground. Then they remembered. They knew what it was because they were there when he was killed. They went inside the thing, and so they knew. Therefore, when they went back, they said, "Oh, Krishna has done this," and it happened actually a year before. So mysterious, so mysterious. Yes, Radhika.
It's mentioned that Ladini, Sambit, Sandini, Shakti, and then he says Yoga Maya is distinct from them. It's one purport. That's when I interrupted.
Well, it was talking about the oneness and variety in the spiritual world. and Ladini and Samvit, just like your body, you can't see the fire and the, and the air, all those things. It's not apparent. I mean, you can, if you think about it, you can see it, but it's not apparent. You don't like see the fire burning in there for your digestion things. It's there, but you can't see it because it's all amalgamated, all the energies. All the earth, water, fire, air, mind, intelligence, ego. You can't see them. They're all amalgamated in such a way as you can't see them. So, in the same way, the energy that makes up the spiritual world is Shuddha Sattva. It's Shuddha Sattva, and Shuddha Sattva has the, the divisions, or it's made up of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Ladini is the bliss. Sandini is the existence, eternal existence. Samvit is the knowledge. So the forms are made of those things. So they're there, and the varieties are all made of those things. So therefore they're all one, Shuddha Sattva, but at the same time there's variety within that oneness.
My doubt or my question was because Yogamaya is distinct from these three energies, Seems
no,
like
she's not distinct from those three energies. She is also, made up of those three energies.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way that's what it means by distinct. Everyone is distinct from those three energies, even though they're made up of those energies.
Yeah.
Prabhupada uses the example sometimes of a tree. He used the same example in the end of the purports. But I heard Gopi Pranadhana Prabhu say it in a very interesting way. He said, there's a tree, and a tree can be very big. It can be, like how hundreds of feet or yards, and banyan trees can go for a mile. Same tree, and it's got one soul in it. So the branch is farthest away from the tree, is controlled by that one soul, and is part of the body of that one soul. So like that's a gross example. There is a difference between the soul and the forms, because all the form is made up of Shuddha Sattva. There's no embodied souls. How that works, I think we had a really clear explanation of Srila Prabhupada, that you can't understand it. You cannot understand it by your reasoning and comparing it to anything in this world, because all we have to do, that we can compare anything to, is in time and space. And these are not in time and space. The forms, the relationships, everything that's going on is outside of time and space. And that's why all the Brahmas can come into that room where Krishna is and Brahma, with 1 million heads, some of them, and they all fit in the room. And only Brahma, the forehead of Brahma, could see them all, and all the rest of them thought it was just him meeting with Krishna. And we're going to try to understand how that is, how that works. Therefore, achintya. Jiva Goswami said, unless you actually accept the principle of achintya, that Krishna can do anything, that's who he is, then therefore Brahma was bewildered, because he was still influenced by the modes of nature, and he couldn't understand that Krishna, who was in charge of everything, could stand there in front of him as a cowherd boy with the fruit in his hand, rice and yogurt. That is the greatest. Yes. Shamagori is going to tell us what the truth is.
I don't know the truth, but I think it was, if I remember well, it was Jayadvaita Maharaj who said that actually Krishna didn't just hold that piece of food, he held it in his left hand to wind Brahma up even more.
Yes, exactly. I thought it when we were reading, I thought it because it said it in his left hand, particularly, yes.
Okay. The other thing I was thinking of is when we were reading, then it came to my mind the description in the Srimad-Bhagavatam of Brahma's planet and how he worshipped the Lord, and in his yagya, the Lord Narayan actually came personally to accept his offerings and his prayers. So in many ways he's an extraordinary person.
Absolutely, it's Mahapurusha. It's a form of the universal form of Mahavishnu, universal form that lives there. And all he does is come out when the sacrifice is and eats what what Brahma gives him, and then he goes back and takes rest. Yeah, he's extremely special. He's the only one who has a personal, Lord Indra sometimes, Vamana is becomes his personal doorman, or I'm sorry, Bali Maharaj, Krishna agrees to become his doorman. He lives right there and he's his doorman. Because he gave everything. Surrendered everything to Krishna, so therefore Krishna reciprocated and said, okay, I'll come with you and be your doorman, so you keep your company. One time somebody came, who was that? Ravana came, yeah. To enlist Bali Maharaj into his army so that he could, conquer everyone. And Krishna just said, no, he's not, he's busy, he's not, and then he kicked him or something, didn't he? Or threw him about halfway around the universe or something,
Is the time for a little more, Maharaj?
Say that again?
Is the time for a little more? I'd like to ask a question.
Absolutely.
Okay. And this pastime has just made me think about the connection between being humiliated and humility. And we can see from this pastime in particular, and also Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, we see that Krishna puts these devotees, these wonderful devotees, into illusion so they behave in a particular way. And then ultimately, because Krishna is so amazing, at the end of the pastime, the devotee is able to show how amazing they are as a devotee with these wonderful prayers here. So, to attain true humility, do we have to be humiliated?
Generally.
Okay.
Generally.
Uh-huh.
Not always, but generally.
Okay.
When it was time when the battle of Kurukshetra was over, and it was time to get off the chariot once and for all, Arjuna, out of devotion to Krishna, said, "My Lord, please, you go first." And Krishna said, No, you get off first. And then Arjuna insisted, "Oh no, please, Lord, you go first." And Krishna looked at him sternly and he said, "Get off the chariot." So he got off the chariot. Krishna got one off the foot of the chariot. As soon as his left foot went off the chariot, it burst into dust. Because it had taken on so many weapons, and Krishna was just, and then Arjuna realized, oh, Krishna did everything. And another example of that is when Krishna left.
I miss who put it. It's a nice pastime, I haven't had it for a long time. How did it go? That Krishna put the foot on, I didn't put the foot on the floor.
No, when Krishna, Arjuna asked Krishna to get off the chariot out of respect. Yeah. And Krishna said, no, you get off the chariot.
The chariot, okay, got it.
They're on the chariot. They're on the chariot.
Yeah.
And then Krishna said, get off the chariot.
Yes.
And then when he got off the chariot, then when Krishna got off the chariot, as soon as he stepped off the chariot burst into dust. And then when Krishna left, And Arjun, who had been empowered by Krishna to do, the things that he did in the Battle of Kurukshetra, no one could do. No ordinary person could do. And then, these dacoits came and stole. Arjun was given the duty to take the queens that were still alive. Not all of them stayed, but those who did, it took them back to Indraprastha under the care of Yudhishthira. And on the way, they were attacked by, it sounded like they were cowherd men or something like that, but they were just ordinary. And Arjun was powerless, He lost his power, and then he understood. And then what happened? He started chanting the Bhagavad Gita, and he got his power back. Then it turns out that it was Krishna who appeared to do that, but he did that very thing you just said. He embarrassed him into humility so he could completely surrender. The material nature has that. He doesn't have to do that kind of thing personally. The material energy is set up in such a way as the only way that you can get out of it is to be humbled by the material energy. Everybody is.
Vaisheshika Prabhu says, meeting earlier these days?
Tell him I'm in the UK. I'm in the UK, Vaish. We're 6 hours ahead. Where the heck are you? 23rd. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Vaish. Happy birthday to you. Hare Krishna to you. Hare Krishna to you. Hare Krishna to you. Hare Krishna to you. May you never take birth again. May you never take birth again. May you never take birth again. Hare Krishna to you. Hare Krishna. I hope he's still there. Vaisheshika, all we're doing is just trying to follow in your footsteps, what you taught us in Govardhan so many years ago, we're doing now every day. And we're getting miraculous results simply by your mercy. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Okay, we'll stop now. Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The servants of Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow night, same time, same place, same station. Hare Krishna. Have a nice evening.